The paper felt heavy in my hands, though it was just regular printer paper. 23 rules. Preston had typed them out, numbered them, and handed them to me over breakfast like he was giving me a grocery list. "This is how it's going to be," he said, not looking up from his phone. I stared at the document. My hands started shaking around rule number 7. Rule 7. You will not question where I go or who I'm with. My time is my own. Rule 12. You will maintain your appearance at all times. I will not be embarrassed by an unkempt wife. Rule 18. You will not discuss our private matters with your friends or family. What happens in this house stays in this house. We had been married for exactly 14 hours. "Preston," I finally said, my voice barely above a whisper. "What is this?" He looked at me then, his blue eyes cold in a way I had never seen before. "Those are the expectations for our marriage. I thought it would be easier to have them written down so there's no confusion. But these are rules for controlling someone, not loving them." He shrugged and took a sip of his coffee. "Love is one thing, Naomi. Marriage is another. This is a partnership, and partnerships need structure." I wanted to scream. I wanted to tear the paper into tiny pieces and throw them in his face. I wanted to run out the door and never look back. Instead, I said nothing. I just sat there, holding the list of rules that would govern my life, wondering how I had gotten here. 24 hours ago, I had been the happiest woman alive. The wedding had been beautiful. 300 guests at the Riverside Country Club, flowers everywhere, a band that played until midnight. My dress had been perfect, a fitted white gown that made me feel like a princess. My sister Rochelle had cried during the ceremony. My father had held my hand so tight when he walked me down the aisle. Preston had looked at me like I was the only person in the world. But that was yesterday. Today he looked at me like I was an employee who needed to understand company policy. "I need to get ready for work," he said, standing up. "Read through those. We'll discuss any questions you have tonight." He walked away, leaving me alone in the kitchen of our new house. The house we had picked out together 3 months ago. The house where we were supposed to start our life as husband and wife. I looked down at the rules again. Rule 1. Dinner will be ready every night at 7 o'clock sharp. Rule 4. You will not enter my office without permission. Rule 9. You will attend all family and business functions with a smile, regardless of your personal feelings. My phone buzzed. A text from Rochelle. "How's married life? Is it everything you dreamed?" I couldn't answer her. Rule 18 said I couldn't discuss our private matters. But were these rules private matters? Or were they warning signs of something much worse? I thought back to how we met. 6 months ago at an art gallery opening. I had been there for work, photographing the event for my graphic design portfolio. Preston had approached me, charming and confident, asking about my camera. We talked for 2 hours. He asked me to dinner the next night. Everything moved fast after that. Dinners turned into weekends together. Weekends turned into him asking me to move in after 3 months. I said no, said it was too soon. He said he knew what he wanted, and what he wanted was me. He proposed 2 weeks later with a ring that cost more than I made in 6 months. My family loved him. He was successful, polite, came from a good family. His mother Barbara had been a little cold at first, but I figured she just needed time to warm up to me. Preston said she was protective, that she would come around. I said yes to his proposal because I thought I was lucky. A successful, handsome man wanted to marry me. He said he couldn't wait, didn't want a long engagement. We planned the wedding in 2 months. Red flags, I realized now. All of them were red flags, and I had been too caught up in the fairy tale to see them. I heard Preston upstairs, getting ready in the bathroom. I looked at the rules again. At the bottom of the page there was a line for my signature and the date. He expected me to sign this. To agree to this. I folded the paper and put it in my pocket. I wasn't going to sign anything. But I also wasn't going to fight about it right now. I needed time to think, to figure out what this meant and what I was going to do about it. Preston came downstairs 20 minutes later, dressed in an expensive suit, his hair perfectly styled. He looked like the man I fell in love with, but something had changed. Or maybe nothing had changed. Maybe this was who he always was and I just hadn't seen it. "I'll be late tonight," he said, grabbing his briefcase. "Don't wait up." It was our first full day as a married couple, and he was telling me not to wait up for him. "Okay," I said. He paused at the door, turned back to look at me. "Did you sign the rules?" "Not yet. I'm still reading them." His jaw tightened. "Have it done by tonight." Then he was gone, and I was alone in our big, beautiful house that suddenly felt like a prison. I pulled out my phone and opened my photos. Pictures from the wedding. Me smiling in my dress. Preston lifting my veil to kiss me. Our first dance. Everyone looked so happy. How had I been so blind? I made myself get up, get dressed, try to act normal. I had taken the week off work for our honeymoon, but Preston had canceled it yesterday morning, saying something came up at the office that he couldn't miss. Another red flag I had ignored. I spent the day unpacking boxes trying to make the house feel like home. But everything felt wrong. The furniture was mostly Preston's choices. The paint colors were what he wanted. Even the towels in the bathroom were his preferred brand. When had I stopped having a say in my own life? By evening I had made dinner. Not because of his rules, but because I didn't know what else to do with myself. At 7 o'clock exactly, I set the table and waited. 7:30 passed. 8 o'clock. 9. At 10:15 Preston came home. He didn't apologize for being late. He just looked at the cold food on the table and said, "I already ate." "You could have called," I said. Rule 7, Naomi. You don't question where I am or who I'm with. I wasn't questioning. I was just saying you could have let me know so I didn't make dinner. He stared at me for a long moment. Did you sign the rules? No. Why not? Because I'm not signing them, Preston. This isn't normal. Marriage isn't supposed to be like this. He stepped closer to me and for the first time I felt afraid. Not that he would hurt me physically, but that I had made a terrible mistake and there was no easy way out. You're my wife now, he said quietly. You need to understand how things work in this family. Tomorrow you'll understand better. My mother is coming by. He walked upstairs, leaving me standing in the kitchen with cold food and a sinking feeling in my stomach. I didn't sleep that night. I lay next to Preston, listening to him breathe, wondering who this man really was and what I had gotten myself into. Tomorrow, he said. Tomorrow I would understand. I didn't know it then, but tomorrow would change everything. Barbara Whitmore arrived at 11 in the morning, 3 days after my wedding. I heard her before I saw her, the click of her expensive heels on the driveway, the sound of the front door slamming open. Where is she? Barbara's voice echoed through the house. Where is that girl? I came out of the kitchen, wiping my hands on a towel. Barbara stood in the foyer, her face pale, her hands shaking. She looked like she had seen a ghost. Or like she wanted to create one. Barbara, I said carefully, is everything okay? Okay. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Do you realize what you just cost this family? I stood there, confused. I don't understand what you're talking about. She moved toward me fast and I stepped back. The merger. The Thornhill deal. $20 million. Gone. All because my son married you instead of Candace. The name hit me like cold water. Candace. Preston had mentioned her once, briefly, said she was just a colleague. Nothing important. Who is Candace? I asked, though part of me already knew I didn't want the answer. Barbara laughed again, that same bitter sound. Who is Candace? She's Randolph Thornhill's daughter. She's the woman Preston was supposed to marry. The woman he was engaged to before he met you. The room tilted. Engaged? For 2 years, Barbara said. Everything was planned. The merger between Whitmore Investments and Thornhill Holdings. Preston and Candace would marry, unite the families, create the most powerful investment firm on the East Coast. And then you came along. I felt sick. Preston never told me he was engaged to anyone. Of course he didn't. He met you and lost his mind. Said he fell in love, that he couldn't marry Candace. We thought it was a phase. We thought he would come to his senses. But no, he had to marry you, and now Randolph has pulled out of the merger. $20 million, Naomi. That's what you cost us. I wanted to sit down, but I didn't want to show weakness in front of this woman. If Preston was engaged to someone else, he should have told me. I never would have dated him if I knew. You think that matters now? You're married to him. You're part of this family. And you need to understand what that means. What does it mean? I asked, my voice stronger than I felt. Barbara stepped closer. It means you do what's expected of you. You smile at events. You don't embarrass this family. You follow Preston's rules and make this work, because you've already destroyed one opportunity for us. Don't make it worse. She knew about the rules. Of course she knew. She probably helped write them. Did you know he was going to give me a list of rules the day after our wedding? I asked. Structure is important in a marriage, Barbara said. Especially when one person comes from nothing and marries into a family like ours. There it was. The real issue. I came from nothing. My father was a mechanic. My mother was a teacher. We lived in a small house in a regular neighborhood. I went to community college before transferring to a state school. I worked hard for everything I had. But to Barbara I was nothing. I wasn't good enough for her son. I need you to leave, I said quietly. Excuse me? This is my home now. You need to leave. Barbara's eyes went cold. You have no idea what you've done. Preston will make you understand. And when Candace comes back into the picture and you'll realize you never stood a chance. She turned and walked out, slamming the door behind her. I stood in the foyer, shaking. Engaged. Preston had been engaged to someone named Candace. He left her to marry me and it cost his family a business deal. Is that why he gave me the rules? Was he punishing me for ruining his family's plans? Or was there something else going on? I grabbed my phone and searched Candace Thornhill. Her face appeared immediately. She was beautiful, blonde, polished. Her social media was full of pictures from charity events, vacation spots I could never afford, designer everything. I scrolled back through her posts. 3 months ago there was a picture of her with Preston. They were at some gala dressed up, smiling. The caption said, "Perfect evening with perfect company." 3 months ago. That was after he proposed to me. My hands shook as I kept scrolling. There were more pictures. Preston and Candace at dinners, events, parties. The most recent was from 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks before our wedding. He had still been seeing her. Even after he proposed to me. Even while we were planning our wedding. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. When I came out, I saw Preston's office door was slightly open. Rule 4 said I couldn't enter without permission. But Preston wasn't here, and after what I just learned, I didn't care about his rules anymore. I pushed the door open and went inside. His desk was neat, organized. I started opening drawers, not sure what I was looking for. I found business papers, old contracts, receipts. And then, in the bottom drawer, I found a folder. Inside were printed emails between Preston and Candace. I started reading. "Preston, we can still fix this. Call off the wedding. Tell her it was a mistake. We can go back to the original plan." "See, I can't do that. It's too late. But we don't have to end things between us." "B, what are you saying?" "See, I'm saying I still want you. The marriage is just for show. You and I can continue what we have." "B." The emails went back months. They talked about meeting up. They talked about hotel rooms. They talked about how Preston would explain everything to me after the wedding, how I would understand my place. I was never supposed to be his real wife. I was supposed to be the woman he married out of spite or rebellion, while he continued his relationship with Candace. That's why he gave me the rules. He was making sure I knew my place from the start. I heard a car in the driveway. Preston was home early. I quickly took pictures of every email with my phone, put the folder back and left his office. By the time he walked in the front door, I was sitting on the couch, looking calm even though my heart was breaking. "You're home early," I said. "My mother called. Said she stopped by." He was watching me carefully. "She said you were rude to her. She told me about Candace." Preston's face didn't change. "What about her?" "That you were engaged. That you were supposed to marry her." He sat down across from me. "That was business, Naomi. What you and I have is different." "Is it?" I pulled out my phone, showed him one of the pictures from Candace's social media. "This is from 2 weeks before our wedding." He glanced at it. It was a work event. "And the hotel rooms?" "The emails about continuing what you have with her." Now his face changed. "You went into my office." "Yes, I did." He stood up, angry now. "Rule 4, Naomi. You don't go into my office without permission." I stood up too. "I don't care about your rules, Preston. You married me while planning to keep seeing another woman. You married me despite your family, and you expected me to just accept it." "You need to calm down," he said. "I need to calm down? You're having an affair and I need to calm down?" "It's not an affair if I'm honest about it," he said. "I told you in the rules that you don't question where I go or who I'm with. I was giving you fair warning." I stared at him. "You actually think that makes this okay? I think you need to understand reality. I married you. You have my name, my house, my money. What I do outside this marriage is my business. Then why did you marry me at all?" He smiled and it was cruel. "Because I wanted to. Because I could. And because I wanted to see if you would actually go through with it." In that moment I understood. This was all a game to him. I was a game. He married me knowing exactly what he was going to do, knowing he would break me down with rules and affairs and his family's judgment. But he made one mistake. He thought I would break. "Okay," I said quietly. He looked surprised. Okay, you're right. I'm your wife. I have your name, your house, your money. I understand reality now." He relaxed, thinking he had won. "Good. Then we can move forward." "Yes," I said. "We can move forward." That night, while Preston slept, I started making plans. He wanted to play games. He wanted to make me follow rules while he did whatever he wanted. Fine. But if he thought I was going to be his quiet, obedient wife while he destroyed me piece by piece, he was wrong. I was going to play a different game. And I was going to win. For 2 weeks, I played the perfect wife. I smiled. I made dinner at 7 o'clock. I went to the business functions Preston required. I didn't ask questions. I followed every single rule on his list. And while I did all of that, I watched him. Preston thought he was being careful, but he wasn't. He got sloppy, confident that I had accepted my role. His phone was always nearby, but he stopped hiding the screen when messages came through. He took calls in the next room, speaking in low voices, but I could hear enough. Candace called him every day. I learned their patterns. Thursday nights, he came home late smelling like expensive perfume. Sunday afternoons, he had golf meetings that lasted 4 hours. Tuesday lunches ran long, and he always came back to the office in a different tie. I documented everything. Times, dates, the receipts I found in his pockets. I took pictures of the charges on our credit card statements. Expensive dinners for 2 at restaurants I had never been to. Hotel rooms booked under his name. Jewelry purchases that I never received. He was spending our money on her. Money that legally belonged to both of us now. One night, while Preston was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. I picked it up. No password. He didn't think he needed one anymore. The message was from Candace. Miss you already? Tonight was perfect. Can't wait until next week when we go to the coast. The coast. I opened his calendar. Next week showed a business trip to Charleston. 3 days. I opened his text thread with Candace. Months of messages. They were planning trips together. They talked about me. She called me the mistake. He called me the situation I'm handling. Is she really as stupid as she seems? Candace wrote last week. Completely, Preston replied. She has no idea about anything. It's actually kinda sad. I wanted to throw his phone across the room. Instead, I took screenshots of everything and sent them to my own email. Then I deleted the sent messages and put his phone back exactly where it was. Stupid he thought I was. The situation he was handling. I went downstairs and made myself tea. My hands were shaking, but not from sadness anymore. I was angry. Furious. But anger was better than heartbreak. Anger meant I could think clearly. I had enough evidence now to divorce him and get a good settlement. But that wasn't enough. He had humiliated me. He married me as a game, gave me rules like I was his property, and continued his affair while making me play the perfect wife. A divorce would hurt him financially, but it wouldn't destroy him the way he was trying to destroy me. I needed more than evidence of an affair. I needed something bigger. The next day, while Preston was at work, I went back into his office. This time, I wasn't looking for emails about Candace. I was looking for anything else. Anything I could use. I found it in his filing cabinet. Financial documents. Business deals. Investment records. And irregularities. Lots of them. I wasn't a financial expert, but I knew enough to see that something was wrong. Money moving between accounts in strange patterns. Investments made in company names I couldn't find any records for. Transactions marked as business expenses that didn't match up with any actual business. Preston was hiding money. Or stealing it. Or both. I took pictures of everything. Pages and pages of documents. Then I found something else. A contract between Preston and someone named Gerald Ashford. It was dated 6 months ago, right before Preston met me. The contract was for a real estate investment. Gerald put in $3 million. Preston was supposed to manage the investment and split the profits. But according to the bank statements I found, that money never went into any real estate. Preston had moved it through several accounts and it disappeared. $3 million. Gone. I kept digging. I found 2 more investors, both with similar contracts. Both had given Preston large amounts of money. None of it went where it was supposed to go. Preston wasn't just having an affair. He was running some kind of scheme. Fraud, maybe. I wasn't sure of the exact legal term, but I knew it was illegal. This was what I needed. This was bigger than an affair. This could destroy him completely. I heard a car door slam outside. Preston was home early again. I quickly put everything back and ran upstairs. By the time he came in, I was in the bedroom, folding laundry like I had been there all day. Hey, he said, loosening his tie. What did you do today? Just housework, I said. Nothing exciting. He nodded, already losing interest. I have to go back to the office for a few hours tonight. Don't wait up. Okay. Will you want dinner first? No. I'll grab something. He changed clothes and left without kissing me goodbye. He never kissed me anymore. He barely looked at me. As soon as he was gone, I transferred all the photos from my phone to a secure cloud storage. Then I made copies on 3 different flash drives. I hid one in my car, one at my sister's house when I visited her the next day, and one in a safety deposit box I opened at a bank across town. You seem stressed, Rochelle said when I dropped off the flash drive hidden inside a box of old photos. Is everything okay? I wanted to tell her everything, but I couldn't. Not yet. If Preston found out I was gathering evidence, he might do something to stop me. I needed to be careful. Everything's fine, I lied. Just adjusting to married life. She hugged me. Call me if you need anything. I mean it. I will. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to Preston, listening to him breathe, thinking about everything I had discovered. He was a fraud in every sense of the word. He had lied to me about Candace. He was stealing from investors. He gave me rules to control me while he did whatever he wanted. But I had evidence now. I had proof of the affair and proof of his crimes. The question was what to do with it. I could go to the police. But that would be messy and there was no guarantee they would do anything quickly. Rich men like Preston had lawyers who could drag things out for years. I could confront him. But he would just deny it or try to turn it around on me. He would say I was crazy, that I misunderstood what I saw. Or I could find someone who already knew what kind of man Preston really was. Someone who might be willing to help me bring him down. I thought about Barbara's words. The merger that fell through. The business deal that cost them $20 million. If Preston had destroyed one deal, maybe he had destroyed others. Maybe there were other people out there who wanted revenge on him just as much as I did. The next morning I started researching. I looked up Whitmore Investments, Preston's business partners, his past deals. I found articles about the failed merger with Thornhill Holdings. I found mentions of other business relationships that ended badly. And I found one name that kept coming up. Bradford Hughes. Preston's former business partner from 5 years ago. They had started a venture capital firm together, but it ended after only 2 years. The articles were vague about why, just saying they had different visions for the company. I dug deeper. I found an interview with Bradford from 3 years ago. The interviewer asked about his split with Preston. Some people are in business to build things, Bradford said. Others are in it to take advantage of people. I found out which one Preston was and I got out. I searched for Bradford's current business. He ran a successful consulting firm now, helping small companies grow. His website showed him at events, speaking at conferences. He looked successful, confident. And according to everything I found, he was honest. No scandals. No shady deals. Just a good reputation and happy clients. I spent 3 days working up the courage. Finally, I called his office. Hughes Consulting, how can I help you? The receptionist answered. Hi, I need to speak with Bradford Hughes. It's about Preston Whitmore. There was a pause. May I ask who's calling? My name is Naomi Fletcher. Well, Naomi Whitmore now. I'm Preston's wife. Another pause, longer this time. Please hold. I waited, my heart pounding. This was risky. If Bradford told Preston I called, everything would fall apart. This is Bradford Hughes. His voice was deep, professional. Mr. Hughes, my name is Naomi. I'm married to Preston Whitmore. I know who you are, he said. I saw the wedding announcement. Congratulations. Thank you, but that's not why I'm calling. I need to talk to you about Preston. About the kind of man he really is. Silence. Then, what do you want from me? I want to know what he did to you. And I want your help making sure he can't do it to anyone else. More silence. I thought he might hang up. Coffee, he finally said. Tomorrow morning. 10 o'clock. There's a place called Riverside Cafe on Maple Street. Do you know it? I'll find it. Come alone. If Preston is with you, I'll walk away. He won't be. He doesn't know I'm calling you. Good. See you tomorrow, Naomi. He hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone, wondering if I had just made a huge mistake or the smartest move of my life. The next morning, I told Preston I was going shopping. He barely looked up from his laptop. I drove to Riverside Cafe, checking my mirrors the whole way to make sure no one was following me. I was probably being paranoid, but I couldn't take chances. Bradford was already there, sitting at a corner table with a clear view of the door. He was tall, African-American, probably in his mid-30s. He wore a simple button-down shirt and jeans, but somehow made it look expensive. Naomi? He said as I approached. Yes. Thank you for meeting me. We sat down. He ordered coffee for both of us. Then he looked at me with sharp, intelligent eyes. Why are you here? He asked. Because Preston is not who I thought he was. And I think you already know that. What did he do to you? I took a breath. He married me while planning to continue his affair with his ex-fiancée. He gave me a list of rules to follow the day after our wedding. And I found evidence that he's been stealing from investors. Bradford's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Do you have proof? Of all of it. Why not just divorce him and move on? Because divorcing him isn't enough. He married me as a game. He's destroyed other people's businesses and lives. Someone needs to stop him. Bradford leaned back in his chair. 5 years ago, Preston and I started a company together. I put in $2 million. He put in $1 million. After 18 months, he told me the company was failing, that we needed to shut it down. I lost everything I invested. A year later, I found out he had secretly moved all our clients to a new company he started without me. He used my contacts, my work, and cut me out completely. I'm sorry, I said. Don't be. I rebuilt. I'm better off now than I would have been with him. But yes, I know exactly what kind of man Preston Whitmore is. He leaned forward. The question is, what do you want to do about it? I want to destroy him, I said. Not physically. But his reputation, his business, his life. I want him to lose everything like he's made other people lose everything. Bradford studied me for a long moment. Then he smiled. Okay, he said. Let's talk about how we make that happen. Bradford ordered more coffee and pulled out a tablet. Tell me everything you found. Every document, every conversation, every piece of evidence. For the next 2 hours, I showed him everything. The photos of Preston's financial documents, the text messages with Candace, the credit card statements, the contracts with investors whose money disappeared. Bradford took notes, occasionally asking questions. He was thorough and methodical. This wasn't emotion for him. It was strategy. Gerald Ashford, he said, pointing to one of the investment contracts. I know him. Good man. Lost almost everything when his investment disappeared. He tried to sue Preston, but Preston has expensive lawyers. They dragged it out until Gerald couldn't afford to keep fighting. That's horrible, I said. That's Preston. Bradford scrolled through more documents. These other 2 investors, I don't know them personally, but I can find them. If we can get all 3 of them together with evidence of what Preston did, that's a criminal case. Fraud. Embezzlement. Will they believe me? They'll believe the documents. Bank statements don't lie. He looked at me. But we need to be careful. If Preston finds out what you're doing before we're ready, he'll destroy the evidence and come after you with everything he has. What do you suggest? Keep playing the good wife. Don't let him know anything changed. Meanwhile, I'll reach out to the investors quietly, see if they're willing to work with us. I'll also talk to a lawyer I trust, someone who specializes in financial crimes. We need to know exactly what laws Preston broke and how to present this case. What about Candace? I asked. She's part of this too. Bradford shook his head. Forget about her. The affair is between you and Preston. It's messy and emotional, but it's not illegal. The financial crimes are what will actually destroy him. Focus on that. He was right, but part of me wanted Candace to face consequences too. She knew he was married. She called me the mistake and laughed about how stupid I was. I can see you want revenge on her too, Bradford said. And I get it. But the best revenge on her is taking away the man she thinks she's winning. When Preston loses everything, she'll disappear. Women like her don't stick around when the money's gone. That made sense. Candace wanted Preston because of who he was, successful, wealthy, powerful. Without those things, she would have no use for him. Okay, I said. So we focus on the financial crimes. What's the timeline? I need 2 weeks to gather information and talk to the right people. You need to keep everything normal at home. Can you do that? I've been doing it for weeks already. Good. We'll meet again next Friday. Same place, same time. By then, I should know if the investors are willing to cooperate and what our legal options are. I nodded. 2 more weeks of pretending. 2 more weeks of watching Preston leave for his meetings with Candace. 2 more weeks of smiling when his mother made comments about how I needed to try harder to fit into the family. But if it meant destroying him completely, I could do it. One more thing, Bradford said as we stood to leave. Why are you doing this? You could just divorce him, take half of whatever assets he has left, and walk away. Why go through all this trouble? I thought about the rules Preston gave me. About how he called me, the situation he was handling. About how he married me as a game, knowing he would break me down piece by piece. Because he thinks I'm stupid, I said. He thinks he can do whatever he wants to me and I'll just accept it. I want him to know he was wrong. Bradford smiled. I think he's going to learn that lesson the hard way. We left separately. I waited 10 minutes before going to my car, checking again to make sure no one had followed me. The drive home felt longer than usual. When I pulled into the driveway, Preston's car was already there. He usually didn't come home this early. I walked in trying to look casual. Preston was in the living room on his phone. He looked up when I entered. "Where were you?" he asked. "Shopping. I told you this morning. Show me what you bought." My heart stopped. I hadn't actually gone shopping. I had no bags, nothing to show him. "Think fast, Naomi." "I didn't find anything I liked," I said. "I tried on a bunch of things but nothing fit right." He stared at me. "You were gone for 3 hours and didn't buy anything?" "I had lunch too. At that salad place near the mall." "Which one?" "The one on 5th Street. Why are you asking me all these questions?" He stood up and walked toward me. "Because my mother called. She said she drove past Riverside Cafe this morning and thought she saw you there with some man." My blood turned cold. Of all the luck. Barbara had driven past the cafe while I was meeting with Bradford. "I wasn't at any cafe," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I was at the mall." "Then why would my mother say she saw you?" "I don't know. Maybe it was someone who looked like me. Or maybe she's trying to cause problems because she doesn't like me." Preston's eyes narrowed. "My mother doesn't lie." Then she was mistaken. "I'm telling you, I was at the mall." He moved closer and I forced myself not to back away. "If I find out you're lying to me, there will be consequences." "I'm not lying." We stared at each other. Finally he stepped back. "Fine. But you need to be more careful. People in this family have reputations to protect. If someone sees you doing something that looks wrong, even if it's innocent, it reflects badly on all of us." "I understand." He went back to his phone, dismissing me. I went upstairs to our bedroom and closed the door. My hands were shaking. That was close. Too close. Barbara had seen me with Bradford. If she had been closer, if she had recognized him, everything would have fallen apart. I needed to be more careful. No more public meetings. No more taking chances. I texted Bradford, "Your mother saw us this morning. We need to find another way to communicate." He replied immediately, "Get a burner phone. Text me the number. We'll use that from now on." The next day, I bought a cheap phone with cash at a convenience store across town. I gave Bradford the number and kept the phone hidden in my car. For the next 2 weeks, I was the perfect wife. I followed every rule. I smiled at family dinners. I didn't question when Preston came home late. I pretended I didn't notice the lipstick on his collar or the hotel receipts in his jacket pocket. And while I did all of that, Bradford was working. He texted me updates on the burner phone. He had contacted all 3 investors Preston had stolen from. They were angry, ready to take action. He found a lawyer who specialized in white-collar crime. The lawyer reviewed the documents I had provided and confirmed that Preston had committed multiple felonies. "We have enough to press charges," Bradford texted. "But we need to decide how to do this. Police first, or do you want to confront him publicly?" I thought about it for a long time. Calling the police would be the safe choice. But it wouldn't give me what I really wanted. I didn't just want Preston arrested. I wanted him humiliated. I wanted everyone who knew him to see exactly what kind of man he was. I wanted him to feel the same shame he had made me feel. "There's a charity gala next month," I texted back. "For Whitmore Investments. All his business partners, clients, and colleagues will be there. His family too. What if we do it then?" "Public confrontation is risky," Bradford replied. "He might have security remove you before you can say anything important. What if it's not just me talking? What if we have the investors there? And the evidence displayed for everyone to see?" That's bold. Maybe too bold. But it would work. One night, in front of everyone he's trying to impress, we show them who he really is. Then the police can arrest him after. There was a long pause before Bradford replied. "Let me talk to the investors and the lawyer. If they're willing, we'll do it your way. But we only get one shot at this. If something goes wrong, Preston walks away and we have nothing." "I know. But I don't want him to walk away. I want him destroyed." "Okay. I'll call you tomorrow." That night I dreamed about the gala. About standing in front of everyone and telling the truth. About watching Preston's face as his world crumbled around him. When I woke up, Preston was already gone. A note on the kitchen counter said he would be in Charleston for 3 days. His business trip with Candace. I didn't care anymore. Let him go. Let him have his last few weeks of thinking he had gotten away with everything. When he came back, his whole world would be different. And he would finally understand that I was never the stupid one. He was. Bradford called me on the burner phone 3 days later. "I talked to everyone. The investors are in. The lawyer is in. We're doing this." I was in my car, parked in a grocery store lot where I knew there were no cameras pointed at me. They're really willing to help? Gerald Ashford wants to see Preston in handcuffs. The other two investors are just as angry. They've been waiting years for a chance to get justice. This is it. What about the lawyer? What's his role? Her name is Patricia Vance. She's been practicing for 20 years, never lost a financial crimes case. She'll have the evidence organized and ready to present. She's also contacted the district attorney's office. They're very interested in what we have. So the police will be there? Not at the gala. We don't want to tip Preston off. But as soon as we present the evidence publicly, Patricia will file the official complaint and the DA will issue a warrant. They'll arrest him within hours. My heart was pounding. This was really happening. What do I need to do? Keep being the perfect wife. Don't let him suspect anything. The gala is in 4 weeks. Between now and then, Patricia needs to verify all the documents you provided. She'll also depose the investors, get their statements on record. Everything has to be airtight. What if Preston finds out before then? He won't. We're being careful. But Naomi, you need to be ready for what comes after. When this goes public, your life will change. The media will be everywhere. Preston's family will come after you. It won't be easy. I know. But it's worth it. Okay. I'll be in touch. He hung up. I sat in my car staring at the phone. 4 weeks. 28 days until Preston's entire life fell apart. I could do this. I had come this far. I wasn't backing down now. When I got home, Preston was in his office on a video call. I could hear him laughing, probably with Candace. I went to the kitchen and started making dinner. 7 o'clock sharp. Just like the rules said. Preston came down at 7:15. Smells good, he said, which was the closest thing to a compliment he had given me in weeks. Thank you. We ate in silence. He scrolled through his phone. I pushed food around my plate. The gala is coming up, he said suddenly. You'll need a new dress. Something expensive. I want you to look good. Okay. Any color you prefer? Red. And make sure your hair is done professionally. My parents will be there, and I need you to make a good impression. I nodded. He wanted me to look perfect so he could show me off like a trophy. One last performance before everything came crashing down. I'll make an appointment at the salon, I said. Good. He stood up. I'm going out for a while. Don't wait up. Where are you going? He gave me a cold look. Rule 7, Naomi. Right. Sorry. He left. I heard his car pull out of the driveway. I finished cleaning up, then went upstairs. I pulled out the burner phone and texted Bradford. He wants me to wear red to the gala. Something expensive. Bradford replied, perfect. The better you look, the more dramatic it will be when you expose him. Buy the most expensive dress you can find. Use his credit card. I smiled. Preston wanted me to look good? Fine. I would look amazing. And while he was showing me off, I would be ending his entire career. The next day, I went to the most expensive boutique in the city. The kind of place I would never normally shop. The kind of place where a single dress cost more than my rent used to be. I need a red dress for a gala, I told the saleswoman. Money is no object. Her eyes lit up. She brought me 6 dresses to try. I chose the most stunning one, a deep red silk that fit perfectly, elegant but powerful. It cost $3,000. I charged it to Preston's card without hesitation. I also got my hair done, my nails done, everything Preston wanted. I was playing my part perfectly. But while I was doing all of that, Bradford and Patricia were working behind the scenes. Bradford texted me updates every few days. Patricia had verified all the documents. The investors had given their statements. The district attorney's office had opened an official investigation. Everything was in place. We're having a run-through next week, Bradford texted. Patricia wants to practice the presentation. Can you meet us? Where? Patricia's office. It's secure. No one will see you there. I told Preston I was going to a spa day with my sister. He didn't even look up from his phone when I left. Patricia's office was downtown, on the 20th floor of a sleek building. Bradford was already there when I arrived. Naomi, this is Patricia Vance, he said, introducing me to a sharp-looking woman in her 50s. Thank you for helping, I said. Thank me when Preston is in prison, Patricia said, shaking my hand. Let's get started. We spent 3 hours going over the plan. Patricia had created a presentation slide showing Preston's financial crimes, the stolen money, the fake investment accounts. She had statements from all 3 investors. She had bank records proving where the money went. At the gala, You'll get on stage during the dinner portion, Patricia explained. Before the speeches start. You'll have about 3 minutes before security tries to remove you. That's enough time to show the most damaging slides and tell everyone what Preston did. What if they don't believe me? They will. The evidence is too strong. And all 3 investors will stand up when you finish and confirm everything you said. That's when Preston will realize he's finished. What about Candace? She'll be there too. Bradford spoke up. Let her watch. Let her see the man she's been having an affair with get destroyed. That's punishment enough. We practiced my speech. What I would say, how I would say it. Patricia was tough, making me repeat sections until I got them perfect. You can't seem emotional, she said. You need to be calm, factual. This isn't about you being hurt. It's about him being a criminal. Do you understand? Yes. Good. Because if you go up there crying or angry, people will dismiss you as a jilted wife. But if you present the facts calmly, they'll have no choice but to take you seriously. We practiced until I could deliver the whole speech without stumbling. Until I could look at pictures of Preston and not feel anything but determination. You're ready, Patricia said finally. 2 more weeks. Don't contact me or Bradford unless it's an emergency. Keep your normal routine. And whatever you do, don't let Preston know anything is wrong. I drove home, my hands steady on the wheel. 2 more weeks of pretending. 2 more weeks of playing the obedient wife. I could do this. When I got home, Preston was in the living room with his mother. They both looked at me when I walked in. Where were you? Barbara asked. Spa day with my sister. Preston knew about it. Your sister called here looking for you 2 hours ago, Barbara said. Said she hadn't heard from you all day and was worried. My heart sank. I had forgotten to tell Rochelle I was using her as an alibi. I meant I was getting a spa day, I said quickly. I never said she was coming with me. I must have confused you. Preston stood up. Let me see your phone. What? Your phone. Let me see it. I pulled out my regular phone and handed it to him, grateful I had left the burner phone in my car. He scrolled through it. No messages to your sister. No calls. I told you she wasn't with me. I went alone. He tossed my phone back to me. My mother is right. You're lying about something. I don't know what, but I'll find out. I'm not lying. I went to the spa alone. That's all. Barbara stood up. Preston, maybe we should hire someone to follow her. Just to be sure. That's not necessary, I said quickly. I'm not doing anything wrong. Then you won't mind if we do it anyway, Barbara said. Preston nodded. I'll make some calls tomorrow. If you're telling the truth, you have nothing to worry about. They were going to have me followed. If they did that, they would see me doing things that didn't match my story. They would find out about Bradford, about Patricia, about everything. I had 2 weeks until the gala. 2 weeks to make sure they didn't discover what I was planning. That night, I texted Bradford on the burner phone. They might have me followed. We need to be extra careful. Don't use this phone unless absolutely necessary, he replied. Don't meet with me or Patricia. Just act normal. 2 more weeks. We're almost there. I deleted the messages and hid the phone in a different spot in my car. For the next 2 weeks, I didn't do anything suspicious. I went to the grocery store, to the gym, to coffee with actual friends. I called Rochelle and told her everything was fine, not to worry. And every day, I noticed the same black car parked down the street from our house. Preston really had hired someone to follow me. But I gave them nothing. I was the perfect, boring housewife. Shopping, cooking, cleaning. Nothing interesting. The investigator must have reported back that I was doing exactly what I said. Preston stopped watching me so closely. Barbara stopped calling to check up on me. They thought they had won. They thought they had scared me into submission. They had no idea what was coming. The night before the gala, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, going over the speech in my head. Checking every detail of the plan. Tomorrow night, Preston's world would end. Tomorrow night, everyone would know the truth. Tomorrow night, I would finally be free. Preston slept soundly next to me, completely unaware that his life was about to change forever. Sleep well, I whispered. It's the last peaceful night you'll ever have. The day of the gala, I woke up early. Preston was still asleep, his arm thrown over his face. I looked at him and felt nothing. No love, no anger, no sadness. Just a calm sense of purpose. Today was the day. I got up quietly and went downstairs. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, going over the plan one more time in my head. Bradford would be at the gala with the 3 investors. Patricia would have the presentation ready on a flash drive. I would get on stage during dinner, before the award ceremony started. 3 minutes. That's all I needed. My phone buzzed. A text from Bradford on the burner phone. Everything is set. Patricia will be in the control booth. When you give the signal, she'll take over the screens and lock the techs out. You'll have full control of the presentation. I texted back, what's the signal? When you get on stage, adjust your bracelet. That's when Patricia will know to start. I looked down at my wrist. Last week, I had bought a new bracelet with Preston's credit card. A simple gold chain. The signal. Got it? I texted. See you tonight. Preston came downstairs an hour later. Big night, he said, pouring himself coffee. Make sure you're ready by 6. We need to be there early. I will be. He left for the office. I spent the day getting ready. Hair, makeup, nails. Everything perfect. I put on the red dress and looked at myself in the mirror. I looked powerful. Confident. Nothing like the scared woman who had received a list of rules 6 weeks ago. At 6 o'clock, Preston came home already dressed in his tuxedo. He looked at me and nodded. You look good. Don't embarrass me tonight. I won't, I said, and meant it in a way he couldn't understand. We drove to the country club where the gala was being held. The parking lot was full of expensive cars. Men in tuxedos and women in designer dresses walked toward the entrance. This was Preston's world. Money, power, status. Tonight, I was going to take it all away from him. We walked in together, his hand on my lower back. People greeted us, complimented my dress, talked about how lovely we looked together. I smiled and nodded and played my part. Barbara was already there, holding court near the bar. She saw us and waved us over. Naomi, you actually look presentable tonight, she said, which was probably the kindest thing she had ever said to me. Thank you, Barbara. The Ashfords are here, she told Preston. Gerald is still bitter about that investment situation. Try to avoid him. My heart jumped. Gerald Ashford. One of the investors Preston had stolen from. He was here just like Bradford said he would be. I'll handle Gerald if I need to, Preston said confidently. See that you do. We can't afford any scenes tonight. I excused myself to go to the bathroom. On the way, I saw Bradford across the room. He gave me a small nod. Everything was in place. In the bathroom, I checked my makeup and took a deep breath. This was it. In less than 2 hours, Preston's life would be over. A woman came out of one of the stalls. Blonde, beautiful, wearing a gold dress. Candace. She looked at me in the mirror. Naomi, right? Preston's wife? Yes. She washed her hands, smiling. I've heard so much about you. Preston talks about you all the time. I bet he does, I thought. Probably tells you how stupid I am. That's nice, I said. Your dress is beautiful. Red really suits you. Thank you. She leaned closer, lowering her voice. Can I give you some advice? Wife to wife. Wife to wife. She actually said that. Sure, I said. Preston is a complicated man. He needs space to be himself. If you try to control him or question him, you'll lose him. Trust me, I know. She was telling me to let Preston do whatever he wanted. To accept his affair. To be the good little wife who didn't make waves. I'll keep that in mind, I said. She smiled and left. I stood there looking at myself in the mirror. Candace had no idea what was about to happen. In 2 hours, she wouldn't be smiling anymore. I went back to the main room. Dinner was being served. Preston and I sat at a table with his business partners and their wives. Everyone talked about deals and vacations and upcoming investments. I ate my food and watched the clock. 8:15. The presentation was scheduled to start at 8:30, after dessert. That's when I would make my move. At 8:25, I excused myself again. I need to powder my nose, I told Preston. He barely acknowledged me, deep in conversation with the man next to him. I walked toward the bathrooms but instead turned toward the stage entrance. A security guard stood there. I'm not supposed to let anyone backstage, he said. I'm Naomi Whitmore. Preston Whitmore's wife. I need to add something to his presentation. He asked me to do it. The guard hesitated. Please, I said, giving him my best smile. It's just a small addition. It'll only take a minute. He looked around, then stepped aside. Make it quick. I walked backstage. Patricia was in the control booth just like she said she would be. She saw me and gave me a thumbs up. I walked to the stage entrance and waited. On stage, someone was introducing the awards portion of the evening. They talked about Whitmore Investments and all the success they had this year. They only knew. The speaker finished. Applause. People settled back into their seats for the presentations. This was my moment. I walked onto the stage before anyone could stop me. The room went silent. Everyone stared at me, confused. Preston's face went white. Good evening, I said into the microphone. My voice was steady, calm. My name is Naomi Whitmore. I'm Preston's wife. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's something everyone here needs to know about the man you're about to honor tonight. I adjusted my bracelet. The signal. The screens behind me lit up. Patricia had taken control. The first slide appeared. Bank statements showing money moving between accounts. Preston Whitmore is a fraud, I said. Over the past 5 years, he has stolen nearly $8 million from investors. He promised to invest their money in legitimate business ventures. Instead, he moved their money through shell accounts and spent it on himself. The room erupted. People were shouting. Security was moving toward the stage. But I kept talking. Gerald Ashford invested $3 million with Preston. The money was supposed to go into a real estate development. Instead, Preston spent it on hotels, expensive dinners, and jewelry for his mistress. Another slide appeared. Receipts from hotels. Credit card statements showing charges at expensive restaurants. All with dates and amounts. 2 other investors, Thomas Chin and Richard Sterling, also lost money. Combined, Preston stole $8 million. Security reached the stage. But before they could grab me, Gerald Ashford stood up. She's telling the truth, he shouted. Preston Whitmore is a thief. He stole from me and ruined my business. 2 other men stood up. Thomas Chin and Richard Sterling. He stole from us too, Thomas said. We have proof. The room was chaos now. People were shouting questions. Preston was trying to leave, but people were blocking his way. There's more, I said into the microphone. Preston married me while continuing an affair with Candace Thornhill. He gave me a list of rules the day after our wedding, treating me like property while he spent our money on another woman. The final slide appeared. Text messages between Preston and Candace. Photos of them together. Credit card receipts for jewelry I never received. Candace had gone pale. She was trying to leave too, but people were staring at her. I filed all this evidence with the district attorney's office, I said. Criminal charges are being filed against Preston Whitmore for fraud, embezzlement, and theft. The police will be here shortly to arrest him. Security finally pulled me off the stage. But it didn't matter. Everyone had seen everything. The damage was done. Preston tried to speak, to defend himself, but no one was listening. People were pulling out their phones, recording, taking pictures. His business partners were standing up, distancing themselves from him. Barbara was screaming at someone. Candace had disappeared. I was escorted out of the main room, but I wasn't being arrested. The security guard just took me to a side room and told me to wait. 10 minutes later, Patricia came in. The police are here, she said. They're arresting Preston now. It worked, I said. It worked perfectly. The DA already has the warrant. Preston will be in custody within the hour. Bradford came in next. That was amazing, he said. You were perfect. Calm, factual, powerful. Everyone believes you. What happens now? I asked. Now Preston deals with the legal system, Patricia said. He'll probably try to make bail, but with this much evidence and 3 victims willing to testify, the judge might deny it. Either way, he's looking at years in prison. And his business? Over. His partners will drop him immediately. No one will want to work with him after this. Whitmore Investments will probably fold within a month. I sat down, suddenly exhausted. It was over. I had actually done it. Are you okay? Bradford asked. I'm free, I said. For the first time in months, I'm actually free. The police escorted Preston out of the country club in handcuffs. I watched from a side window as they put him in the back of a patrol car. His face was red, angry. He was shouting something, but I couldn't hear what. Barbara ran after the police car, screaming. Other family members tried to calm her down, but she was hysterical. Her perfect son, her golden boy, was being arrested in front of everyone she knew. Naomi, Patricia said, touching my shoulder. We should go. The media will be here soon, and you don't want to be part of that circus. She was right. Already, people outside were pulling out their phones, calling reporters, sharing what had happened on social media. By tomorrow morning, this would be everywhere. Bradford drove me home. We didn't talk much. I was processing everything that had just happened. 6 weeks ago, I was a newlywed who thought she had married the perfect man. Now I was the woman who had just destroyed her husband's entire life in front of 300 people. Do you regret it? Bradford asked as we pulled into my driveway. No, I said immediately. He deserved everything he got. He did. But that doesn't mean this won't be hard for you too. People will talk. Some will call you a hero. Others will say you were vindictive. Are you ready for that? I don't care what people say. I know the truth. Preston was a criminal and a liar. I just made sure everyone else knew it too. Bradford smiled. You're stronger than I thought. When we first met, you seemed so broken. But you're not. You're one of the toughest people I've ever met. I had good help, I said. You did the hard part. I just pointed you in the right direction. I got out of the car and went into the house. Preston's house. Except it wasn't really his anymore. Everything he owned would be seized to pay back the investors. This house, his cars, his bank accounts, all of it gone. I walked through the rooms, seeing everything differently now. The expensive furniture Preston chose. The art on the walls. The big television, the fancy kitchen appliances. All bought with stolen money. I went upstairs to our bedroom and started packing. I didn't want to stay here another night. I called Rochelle. Oh my God, she answered immediately. I just saw the videos online. Naomi, what happened? Are you okay? I'm fine. Better than fine. Can I stay with you for a while? Of course. Stay as long as you need. I'm coming to get you right now. Thank you. While I waited for Rochelle, I packed my clothes, my personal items, everything that was mine. I left everything Preston had bought me. The jewelry, the designer bags, the expensive shoes. I didn't want any of it. I found the list of rules in my nightstand drawer. I had kept it all this time, planning to use it as evidence if needed. I looked at it one more time, remembering how I felt the day Preston gave it to me. Then I tore it into tiny pieces and threw it in the trash. Rochelle arrived 30 minutes later. She helped me carry my bags to her car. We drove away from that house and I didn't look back. Tell me everything, Rochelle said once we were on the road. So I did. I told her about the rules, about discovering the affair, about finding evidence of Preston's crimes. I told her about Bradford and Patricia and the plan we made. I told her about tonight, about standing on that stage and exposing Preston in front of everyone. Rochelle listened, her eyes getting wider with each detail. You did all that? She finally said. You took down your husband and his entire business empire? Yes. That's the most badass thing I've ever heard. We both started laughing. And then I was crying too, but they were good tears. Relief tears. Happy tears. I was so scared, I admitted. Every day I thought Preston would find out. I thought I would mess up and he would stop me. But you didn't mess up. You were perfect. And now he's going to prison. He is. What happens next? With the divorce and everything? Patricia is handling it. She said it should be quick since Preston is a criminal now. I won't get much money because everything he has is being seized, but I don't care. I just want it to be over. What about Candace? She's not my problem anymore. Let her deal with the fallout of being the mistress of a convicted criminal. We got to Rochelle's apartment. She made up the guest room for me and ordered pizza. We stayed up late watching the news coverage of Preston's arrest. It was the top story on every local channel. Preston Whitmore, prominent investment banker, was arrested tonight on charges of fraud and embezzlement, the news anchor said. His wife, Naomi Whitmore, publicly accused him of stealing millions from investors during a charity gala. We have video from the event. They showed clips of me on stage presenting the evidence. I looked strong, confident. Not like a victim at all. Authorities say they've been investigating Whitmore for several weeks after receiving a tip. 3 alleged victims have come forward with evidence of financial crimes. Whitmore is being held without bail. Without bail. That meant Preston was staying in jail until his trial. My phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. I answered it. Naomi Whitmore? Yes. This is Channel 7 News. We'd like to interview you about what happened tonight. We can offer. I hung up. The phone rang again. Another reporter. I turned it off. They're going to hound you, Rochelle said. Everyone's going to want your story. They can't have it. I said what I needed to say tonight. I'm done. But it wasn't that simple. Over the next few days, reporters camped outside Rochelle's apartment. They called everyone I knew asking for information. My old coworkers, my friends, even my parents. I stayed inside and ignored all of it. Patricia called me 3 days after the gala. Preston tried to post bail. The judge denied it. He's officially staying in jail until trial, which should be in about 3 months. Good. His lawyers are trying to make a deal. They want him to plead guilty in exchange for a reduced sentence. The DA is considering it. How reduced? 6 to 8 years instead of 20. That's not enough, I said. He stole $8 million. He ruined people's lives. I know. But the DA wants a guaranteed conviction. If this goes to trial, there's always a chance Preston could win. With a plea deal, he definitely goes to prison. What do the investors think? Gerald wants him to get the full sentence. The other two are okay with a deal as long as Preston pays back what he stole. Can he do that? Once everything is sold, there might be enough to pay them back about 60% of what they lost. It's not perfect, but it's something. I thought about it. 6 years in prison. Preston would lose everything: his business, his reputation, his freedom. He would be a convicted felon. Even after he got out, his life would never be the same. Okay, I said. If the investors agree, I won't fight the plea deal. What about the divorce? How fast can we make it happen? Very fast. Preston's lawyers want to settle quickly. They're offering you a clean break. No alimony, no shared assets. You walk away with nothing, but you're free. I'll take it. I don't want anything from him anyway. Are you sure? You could fight for more. I'm sure. I just want this to be over. Okay. I'll draw up the papers. You can sign them next week, and the divorce should be final within 30 days. 30 days. 1 month until I was officially free of Preston Whitmore. Thank you, Patricia. For everything. You did the hard part, Naomi. I just helped with the legal details. After we hung up, I felt lighter. It was really over. Preston was going to prison. I was getting divorced. My old life was gone, but I could start building a new one. That night, I got a message on social media. From Candace. We need to talk. Please. I stared at it for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore it. But another part was curious. What could she possibly have to say to me? I replied, no. We don't need to talk. We don't need anything. She responded immediately, I didn't know he was married when we started. You told me you were separated. You're a liar. I saw the messages. You knew exactly what you were doing. Please, Naomi. My life is ruined too. Everyone knows about the affair. I lost my job. My family won't talk to me. I need help. I laughed out loud. She wanted help from me. The woman she called the mistake. The woman whose husband she had been sleeping with. You made your choices, Candace. Now live with them. Don't contact me again. I blocked her. I didn't care what happened to her. She was right that her life was probably ruined too. Good. She deserved it. A week later, I signed the divorce papers. Patricia witnessed my signature. It's done, she said. In 30 days, you'll legally be Naomi Fletcher again. My maiden name. My identity before Preston. It felt good to reclaim it. What will you do now? Patricia asked. I don't know yet. Find a new job. Find a new place to live. Start over. You could keep doing graphic design. You're good at it. Maybe. I'm thinking about starting my own business. I learned a lot about investments and business these past few months. Maybe I could use that knowledge. Patricia smiled. I think you'd be good at whatever you choose to do. You're smart, determined, and you don't give up. That's a powerful combination. Thank you. For believing in me. Thank you for trusting me. I left Patricia's office and walked to my car. It was a sunny day, warm and bright. I felt like I could breathe for the first time in months. My phone rang. Bradford. Hey, he said. I heard you sign the papers. Just now. In 30 days I'm free. Congratulations. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about something. Do you have time for coffee? Sure. Where? Same place we met before. Riverside Cafe. 20 minutes. I'll be there. I drove to the cafe wondering what Bradford wanted to talk about. When I arrived, he was already there, 2 coffees on the table. Thanks for meeting me, he said as I sat down. Of course. What's up? I have a business proposition for you. What kind of proposition? I'm expanding my consulting firm. I need someone who understands business, who's smart and resourceful. Someone I can trust. He looked at me. I want to offer you a job. I stared at him. You want to hire me? Yes. You'd start as a junior consultant, but I think you could move up quickly. You have skills that are valuable: research, attention to detail, the ability to see what's really going on. Those are exactly what I need. Bradford, I don't have experience in consulting. Neither did I when I started. I'll train you. And honestly, after what you just pulled off, I think you can handle anything I throw at you. I thought about it. A new job. A fresh start. Working with someone I trusted. What's the salary? I asked. He told me. It was more than I made at my old graphic design job. When would I start? Whenever you're ready. Take a couple weeks to settle your life. Then come work with me. I smiled. Okay. I'll do it. Great. I'll send you the employment contract tomorrow. We finished our coffee talking about the job and what it would involve. For the first time in a long time, I felt excited about the future. As I drove back to Rochelle's apartment, I thought about how much had changed in just 2 months. I had gone from a scared newlywed with a list of rules to a woman who had destroyed her husband's entire life and was starting over with a new career. Preston had tried to break me. Instead, he had made me stronger. And now, while he sat in a jail cell waiting for his trial, I was free. I had won. The news coverage continued for weeks. Preston's arrest was the biggest financial crime story of the year. Every day new details came out. More investors came forward, saying Preston had scammed them too. The total amount he had stolen was now estimated at over $12 million. His trial date was set for January. His lawyers tried to get him released on bail again, arguing that he wasn't a flight risk. The judge denied it. Preston would stay in jail until his trial. Barbara called me once. I let it go to voicemail. "This is all your fault," she said on the recording. "You destroyed my son. You destroyed this family. I hope you're happy." I deleted the message without listening to the rest. I didn't feel guilty. Barbara had known what kind of man Preston was. She had helped him write those rules. She had encouraged him to treat me like property. She was just as bad as he was. The divorce was finalized 3 weeks after I signed the papers. The judge expedited it due to Preston's criminal case. I was officially Naomi Fletcher again. The day the divorce was final, I went to my bank and opened new accounts. I transferred the money I had saved from my old job before I married Preston. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Clean money that had nothing to do with him. I also started looking for apartments. I couldn't stay with Rochelle forever. I needed my own place, somewhere that felt like home. I found a small one-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood I had always liked. It had big windows, hardwood floors, and a view of a park. The rent was affordable with my new salary from Bradford's company. I signed the lease and moved in a week later. Rochelle helped me pack and unpack. My belongings looked small in the new space, but that was okay. I would fill it slowly with things I chose, things that reflected who I was becoming. "New job, new apartment, new life," Rochelle said as we assembled furniture. "You're really doing it." "I am." "Are you happy?" I thought about it. Not happy yet. But I'm getting there. For the first time, I feel like I have control over my life. That's good. That's really good. My first day at Bradford's consulting firm was nerve-wracking. I wore my best professional outfit and showed up 15 minutes early. "Welcome to Hughes Consulting," Bradford said, showing me around the office. "This is your workspace. We're a small team right now, just 5 of us, but we're growing." He introduced me to the other consultants. They were friendly, professional. No one treated me differently because of what had happened with Preston. Bradford had made sure of that. "Your first assignment is research," Bradford explained. "We have a client who's considering investing in a tech startup. They want to know if the company is legitimate and if the founders have a clean background." Sound familiar? I smiled. "Very familiar." "Good. Show me what you can do." I dove into the work. Research, background checks, financial analysis. It was exactly what I had done to take down Preston, except now I was doing it legitimately, to help people avoid getting scammed. I was good at it. Really good. Within 2 weeks, I had completed 3 client reports. Bradford was impressed. "You have a natural talent for this," he said. "I knew hiring you was the right choice. Thank you for giving me a chance. You earned it." Meanwhile, Preston's case was moving forward. The DA accepted a plea deal. Preston would plead guilty to fraud and embezzlement in exchange for an 8-year sentence. He would also be required to pay back as much money as possible to his victims. Everything Preston owned was sold at auction. The house, the cars, the furniture. His fancy suits, his expensive watches. All of it went to pay back Gerald, Thomas, and Richard. They recovered about 70% of what they had lost. Not perfect, but better than nothing. Preston's sentencing hearing was scheduled for December. The judge would officially accept the plea deal and send Preston to prison. Patricia called me a week before the hearing. "The judge is allowing victim impact statements. Gerald, Thomas, and Richard are all giving statements. Do you want to give one too?" "I'm not a financial victim," I said. "No, but you were married to him. You have the right to speak if you want to." I thought about it. Did I want to stand in front of Preston one more time and tell him what he did to me? "Yes," I said. "I'll give a statement." The day of the hearing, I put on a simple black dress and drove to the courthouse. Patricia met me outside. "Are you ready?" she asked. "Yes." The courtroom was packed. Gerald, Thomas, and Richard were there with their families. Barbara was there, sitting in the front row with the rest of the Whitmore family. They all glared at me when I walked in. I ignored them and sat down with Patricia. The judge entered. Everyone stood. Then we sat again and the hearing began. Preston was brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit. He had lost weight. He looked tired, older. When he saw me, something flickered in his eyes. Anger maybe. Or regret. I couldn't tell and I didn't care. The prosecutor presented the case. Preston's lawyer accepted the plea deal on his behalf. Then the judge asked if there were victim impact statements. Gerald went first. He talked about how he had lost his savings, how his business almost failed, how he had to start over at 50 years old. Thomas went second. He talked about the stress, the sleepless nights, the feeling of being betrayed by someone he trusted. Richard went last. He talked about how the theft had affected his family, how his children had to leave college because he couldn't afford tuition anymore. Each statement was powerful. Each one showed how Preston's crimes had real consequences for real people. Then the judge looked at me. Mrs. Whitmore, do you have a statement? I stood up. Patricia had told me I could read from notes, but I didn't need to. I knew exactly what I wanted to say. My name is Naomi Fletcher, I said. I was married to Preston Whitmore for 6 weeks. The day after our wedding, he gave me a list of rules I was expected to follow. Rules about what I could say, where I could go, who I could see. He treated me like property, not a partner. I looked directly at Preston. He was staring at the table. While he was pretending to be my husband, he was having an affair with another woman. He spent our money on her. He planned trips with her. He laughed about how stupid I was for not knowing. I saw Barbara shift uncomfortably in her seat. Preston Whitmore is a liar and a fraud in every part of his life. He lied to me. He lied to his investors. He lied to his family and his colleagues. He destroyed lives because he thought he was smarter than everyone else. He thought he would never get caught. I paused. But he did get caught. And now he's going to prison. And I want him to know that I'm not sad about it. I'm not sorry for exposing him. The only thing I'm sorry about is that I didn't see who he really was sooner. I sat down. The courtroom was silent. The judge spoke. Mr. Whitmore, do you have anything to say before I accept this plea deal and pass sentence? Preston stood up slowly. His lawyer put a hand on his arm, probably warning him not to say anything stupid. I made mistakes, Preston said. His voice was flat, emotionless. I'm sorry for the pain I caused. That was it. No real apology. No acknowledgement of what he had actually done. Just a generic statement his lawyer probably told him to say. The judge didn't look impressed. Mr. Whitmore, you systematically defrauded multiple victims out of millions of dollars. You showed no remorse until you were caught. The only reason I'm accepting this plea deal is because it guarantees you will go to prison and your victims will receive some restitution. The judge looked at the papers in front of him. I hereby sentence you to 8 years in federal prison, with the possibility of parole after 5 years if you demonstrate good behavior and make full restitution to your victims. You will be remanded immediately. The gavel came down. It was over. Preston was officially going to prison. Barbara started crying. Other family members tried to comfort her. Preston was led out of the courtroom in handcuffs. He looked back once, his eyes finding mine. I didn't look away. I wanted him to see that I wasn't broken, that he hadn't won. Then he was gone and I could breathe again. Outside the courthouse, reporters were waiting. They shouted questions at everyone leaving the building. Mrs. Fletcher, how do you feel about the sentence? Did you get closure today? Do you regret marrying Preston Whitmore? I ignored them all and walked to my car. Patricia followed me. You did great in there, she said. Your statement was powerful. Thank you. I just wanted him to know that he didn't break me. He didn't. You're stronger now than you were before you met him. She was right. I had learned so much in the past few months. I had learned that I was capable of standing up for myself. That I could fight back when someone tried to control me. That I was smarter and tougher than I ever knew. What will you do now? Patricia asked. Keep moving forward. I have a job I love, an apartment that's mine, a new life to build. That sounds perfect. We said goodbye and I drove home. Home. My apartment. My space. No one could tell me what to do there. No one could give me rules or make me feel small. I was free. That night, Bradford texted me. Saw the news coverage. You were amazing. Thanks. It's finally over. How are you feeling? Relieved. Ready to move on. Good. See you at the office tomorrow? Definitely. I made dinner whatever I wanted at whatever time I wanted. No rules. Then I sat on my couch and watched TV. Just a normal evening in my normal life. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me check. It was a text from Candace. I heard about the sentencing. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I stared at the message. Part of me wanted to respond with something cutting. But I realized I didn't need to. Candace was nothing to me now. She was Preston's problem, and he wasn't my problem anymore either. I blocked the number without replying. That was the last time anyone from my old life tried to contact me. Barbara stopped calling. Preston's friends stopped trying to defend him on social media. The news cycle moved on to other stories. And I was finally, completely free to start over. 6 months after Preston's sentencing, my life looked completely different. I had moved up at Hughes Consulting. Bradford promoted me to senior consultant after I successfully completed 5 major client projects. I was now leading my own team, handling complex cases, making good money. My apartment was fully furnished now. I had picked out every piece myself, a comfortable couch in deep blue, artwork from local artists, plants by the windows. It felt like home in a way Preston's house never did. I had also started reconnecting with old friends, people I had drifted away from during my marriage. We met for coffee, for dinners, for weekend activities. I was building a social life again on my own terms. "You seem different," my friend Simone said one Saturday afternoon. We were at a farmer's market, browsing fresh produce and handmade crafts. "Lighter maybe. Happier." "I am happier," I said. "I feel like I'm finally living my own life." "Do you ever think about Preston?" "Sometimes. But not in the way you'd expect. I don't miss him. I don't wonder what could have been different. I just think about how far I've come since then." "That's healthy," Simone said. "A lot of people would still be bitter." I was bitter for a while. But staying bitter only hurts me, not him. He's in prison dealing with his consequences. I'm here building something new. We bought fresh vegetables and homemade bread. Simple things that made me happy. I was learning what I actually liked, what I wanted, who I really was without someone telling me how to be. At work, Bradford had become not just my boss but a genuine friend. He checked in on me regularly, made sure I was doing okay, gave me advice when I needed it. "You've changed this company," he told me one day. "The quality of work has gone up since you joined. Clients specifically ask for you now." "That's because you taught me well," I said. "I taught you the basics. You figured out the rest yourself. You have good instincts, Naomi." "Thank you. That means a lot." "I mean it. Have you thought about the future? Where you want to be in 5 years?" I had been thinking about it. Maybe running my own consulting firm eventually. Not right away, but someday. "That's a good goal. When you're ready, I'll help you get started." "Why would you help me start a competing business?" "Because competition is good. And because you deserve success. You've worked hard for it." That conversation stuck with me. I started planning, researching what it would take to start my own company. It felt good to have goals again, to be working towards something that was mine. One evening, I got an unexpected email. From Gerald Ashford, one of Preston's victims. "Miss Fletcher, I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to reach out and thank you for what you did. Because of you, Preston Whitmore is in prison and can't hurt anyone else. You gave me and the other investors a voice when we had none. I'll always be grateful for that. If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to contact me. Best wishes, Gerald." I replied, "Thank you for your kind words. I'm glad we could get justice together. I hope you're doing well." He wrote back, "Better than well. I've rebuilt my business and it's thriving. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us lead to the best outcomes. Take care." He was right. The worst thing, marrying Preston, had led to so many good things. My new career, my independence, my strength. I wouldn't have any of that if I had married someone decent in the first place. It was a strange thought, being grateful for a bad experience. But I also started dating again, casually. Nothing serious, just coffee dates and dinners. I was learning what I wanted in a partner now that I knew what I definitely didn't want. I met someone named Julian at a business conference. He was a financial advisor, smart and funny. We went out a few times. He was nice, respectful. But after a few weeks, I realized I wasn't feeling a strong connection. "I don't think this is working for me," I told him honestly over coffee one day. "I was thinking the same thing," he said, smiling. "You're great, Naomi. But I think we're better as friends." Agreed. Friends sounds good. We ended things amicably. It felt good to be honest about my feelings, to not settle for something that wasn't right just because it was easy. I was learning to trust my instincts again. Preston had made me doubt myself, made me think I couldn't see things clearly. But I could. I was smart and perceptive. I just needed to believe in myself. 1 year after leaving Preston, I threw myself a party. Just a small gathering with Rochelle, Bradford, Patricia, and a few close friends. We celebrated at my apartment with food, wine, and laughter. A toast, Rochelle said, raising her glass. To Naomi, who survived the worst and came out stronger. To Naomi, everyone echoed. To new beginnings, I added. We clinked glasses and drank. I looked around at the people who had supported me through everything. I was lucky to have them. Speech. Simone called out. I don't have a speech prepared, I said, laughing. Just say something, Rochelle encouraged. I stood up, suddenly emotional. Okay. A year ago, I was in a really dark place. I was trapped in a marriage with someone who didn't respect me. I felt small and powerless. But I realized something important. I wasn't powerless. I had more strength than I knew. Everyone was listening. I got that strength from all of you. From Rochelle, who gave me a place to stay. From Bradford, who gave me a chance when I needed a fresh start. From Patricia, who helped me get justice. From all my friends who stuck by me even when things were messy. I raised my glass. So thank you. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for showing me that I could start over. Thank you for being part of my new life. We love you, Naomi, Rochelle said, hugging me. Love you too. The party went late into the night. We laughed and told stories and made plans for the future. It felt perfect. After everyone left, I stood in my apartment, looking at the mess of plates and glasses that needed cleaning. I didn't mind. This was my space, my life, my mess to clean up. I thought about Preston, locked in a prison cell hundreds of miles away. I wondered if he thought about what he'd lost. His freedom, his reputation, his money. Everything he valued. I hoped he did. I hoped he had plenty of time to think about the choices he made and the people he hurt. But mostly, I just hoped he stayed far away from me for the rest of his life. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Hi, Naomi. This is Derek Chin. We met at the conference last month. I was wondering if you'd like to grab coffee sometime? I remembered Derek. Tall, kind eyes, worked in tech consulting. We had talked for about an hour about business and life. He seemed genuine. Sure, I texted back. Coffee sounds good. When works for you. How about Tuesday afternoon? There's a great place near your office. Perfect. See you then. I put down my phone, smiling. A new possibility. A fresh start. No pressure, no expectations. Just coffee with someone who seemed interesting. That's how I wanted to live now. Open to new things but not desperate for them. Happy on my own but willing to let good people into my life. I cleaned up the dishes and got ready for bed. Tomorrow was Sunday. I would sleep in, make breakfast, go for a run in the park. Simple, peaceful things that made me happy. As I turned off the lights, I realized something important. I didn't think about Preston every day anymore. Sometimes days would go by without him crossing my mind at all. He was becoming just a story I could tell, a chapter in my past that had ended. Not my whole life, just a part of it. And that's exactly what he deserved to be. A closed chapter. A lesson learned. A mistake I would never repeat. Tuesday afternoon, I met Derek for coffee. He was waiting outside the cafe when I arrived, holding 2 cups. I hope you like cappuccino, he said. I took a guess. That's perfect, actually. Thank you. We found a quiet table and talked. About work, about life, about everything and nothing. Derek was easy to talk to, genuinely interested in what I had to say. I looked you up after the conference, he admitted. I saw the news stories about your ex-husband. That must have been intense. I appreciated his honesty. It was. But it's over now. I'm focused on moving forward. That's a good approach. Not everyone can do that. What about you? I asked. Any dramatic ex stories? He laughed. Nothing that made the news. Just the usual relationship stuff. We wanted different things, grew apart, ended it maturely. That sounds refreshingly normal. It was. Almost boring compared to your situation. We both smiled. I liked that he could joke about it without making it weird. We met for coffee again the following week. And then dinner the week after that. It was slow, comfortable. No pressure. Derek was patient, understanding that I wasn't ready to rush into anything serious. I like you, Naomi, he said after our 4th date. But I want you to know there's no pressure here. We can take this as slow as you need. Thank you. That means a lot. I can't imagine what you went through. But I can see you're strong. You rebuilt your entire life in a year. That's impressive. I had help. Maybe. But you did the hard work yourself. Derek was right. I had done the hard work. And I was proud of that. Meanwhile, at Hughes Consulting, things were going incredibly well. We landed 3 major clients in 1 month. The company was growing and so was my role in it. I've been thinking, Bradford said one Monday morning. We should make you a partner. You've earned it. I stared at him. A partner? Are you serious? Completely serious. You've brought in significant business, improved our processes, and mentored our junior consultants. You're exactly what this company needs. What do you say? Yes. Absolutely yes. Great. I'll have the lawyers draw up the partnership agreement. Partner. I was going to be a partner in a successful consulting firm. A year ago, I was following Preston's rules, feeling trapped and powerless. Now I was a business partner, building my career, creating my future. The change was remarkable. That weekend, Rochelle and I went shopping to celebrate my promotion. Partner? She squealed in the middle of a store. My sister is a partner. Stop, you're embarrassing me, I said, laughing. I don't care. I'm so proud of you. Thanks. I'm pretty proud of myself too. You should be. You've accomplished so much in such a short time. We browsed clothes and shoes, treating ourselves to a few nice pieces. I could afford it now with my new salary. But I was also careful with money, having learned my lesson about depending on someone else's wealth. As we walked through the mall, I saw a familiar face. Candace. She was with another woman looking at jewelry. She saw me too. Our eyes met for a brief moment. She looked away quickly, her face turning red. I kept walking. I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, nothing. She was just a stranger now, someone from a past life I had left behind. Was that? Rochelle asked quietly. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. You're amazing, you know that? I'm learning to be. A few weeks later, I got an unexpected letter. From prison. From Preston. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. Did I want to read whatever he had to say? Part of me wanted to throw it away unopened. But curiosity won. Naomi, I know I have no right to contact you. But I wanted to say I'm sorry. I treated you terribly. I manipulated you, lied to you, tried to control you. You didn't deserve any of that. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know that I recognize what I did was wrong. I'm trying to be better, to understand why I made the choices I made. Prison gives you a lot of time to think. I hope you're doing well. I hope you found happiness. I'm sorry for everything. Preston. I read it twice. Then I put it back in the envelope and threw it away. Maybe his apology was genuine. Maybe he really was sorry. But it didn't change anything. He had hurt me, hurt other people, destroyed lives for his own benefit. An apology from prison didn't fix that. I didn't write back. I didn't need closure from him. I had already found it on my own. That evening, Derek came over for dinner. I cooked pasta, we opened wine, we talked about our weeks. You seem distracted, he said. Everything okay? Yeah. I got a letter from Preston today. An apology. How do you feel about that? Nothing. I feel nothing. Is that weird? Not at all. He doesn't deserve your emotional energy anymore. You're right. He doesn't. Derek reached across the table and took my hand. You're one of the strongest people I know, Naomi. I hope you know that. I'm starting to. We finished dinner and moved to the couch. Derek put his arm around me and we watched a movie. It was simple, comfortable. Nothing dramatic or intense. Just two people enjoying each other's company. I really like you, I said during a quiet moment. I really like you too. I want to take this slow though. I'm not ready for anything serious yet. That's fine with me. We'll go at your pace. I leaned into him, feeling safe and comfortable. This was what a relationship should feel like. Easy, respectful, honest. Not controlling or manipulative or full of rules. I was learning what healthy looked like. And I wasn't going to settle for anything less ever again. 3 months later, Derek and I became official. We were exclusive, committed, but still taking things slowly. He met Rochelle and my parents. I met his family. Everyone got along well. He's so much better than Preston, my mother said after meeting Derek. He actually listens to you and respects what you say. That's the bare minimum, Mom. I know. But after Preston, even the bare minimum seems special. She was right. I had learned to appreciate the basics: respect, honesty, kindness. Things that should be standard in any relationship. Derek and I talked about the future sometimes. Where we saw ourselves in 5 years, what we wanted out of life. But there was no pressure to make big decisions right away. We were just enjoying being together. At work, the partnership was official. My name was now on the company letterhead. Bradford and I were equals, running the business together. We should expand, I suggested during a planning meeting. Open a second office in another city. Where were you thinking? Atlanta. There's a growing market there, and we have several clients in that region already. Bradford considered it. That's actually a great idea. Let's research it and see if it's feasible. We spent the next few months planning the expansion. By the end of the year, we opened Hughes and Fletcher Consulting in Atlanta. I flew there once a month to check on operations and meet with clients. My life was full now. Busy with work, my relationship with Derek, time with friends and family. I had built exactly the kind of life I wanted. One evening, I was organizing files at home when I found an old photo. Me and Preston on our wedding day, both smiling at the camera. I looked so happy, so hopeful. I had no idea what was coming. I looked at that photo and felt sorry for that version of myself. She didn't know she was about to go through hell. But she was stronger than she knew. She would survive and come out better on the other side. I put the photo in a box with other memories from that time. I didn't want to throw it away completely. It was part of my story, part of what made me who I was now. But I didn't need to look at it anymore. 2 years after my divorce was finalized, Derek and I moved in together. We found an apartment with space for both of us in a neighborhood we both loved. "This feels right," Derek said as we unpacked boxes. "It does. I love you, Naomi." It was the first time he had said it. I looked at him, this good man who had been patient with me, who respected my boundaries, who made me laugh. "I love you too." We kissed and it felt like a new beginning. Not like an ending to my old life, but a genuine start to something new. That night, we celebrated with takeout and champagne. We talked about the future, about maybe getting a dog, about travel plans, about all the things we wanted to do together. "Do you ever think about getting married again?" Derek asked. "Sometimes. But I'm not in a hurry. Marriage doesn't mean what it used to mean to me." "That's fair. What would it take for you to want to marry someone again?" I thought about it. Trust. Complete trust. Feeling like we're true partners, equals in every way. No rules, no control, just two people choosing to build a life together. That sounds perfect. What about you? What do you want? The same thing. Partnership. Respect. Someone who challenges me and supports me at the same time. Someone like you. We smiled at each other. There was no proposal that night, no big declarations. Just an understanding that we were on the same page, building something real together. 3 years after leaving Preston, I was promoted to senior partner at the firm. We opened a third office in Chicago. I was traveling for work, managing teams, closing major deals. My career was everything I had hoped it would be. Derek proposed on a quiet Saturday morning. No big production, no fancy restaurant. Just the two of us having coffee in our apartment. "Will you marry me?" he asked, pulling out a simple, beautiful ring. I looked at him. At this man who had seen me at my worst and loved me anyway. Who had been patient while I healed. Who treated me as an equal. "Yes," I said. "I will." We planned a small wedding. Just close friends and family. Nothing like the elaborate production Preston had insisted on. This was about Derek and me celebrating our commitment to each other. The wedding was perfect. Simple, meaningful, full of love and laughter. Rochelle was my maid of honor. Bradford was there, joking that he had known all along Derek was the right one. When Derek and I said our vows, I meant every word. I was choosing this partnership freely, with my eyes wide open, knowing exactly what a good relationship should look like. We didn't have a list of rules. We had mutual respect, open communication, and genuine love. As we danced at our reception, I thought about how far I had come. From a scared woman following rules to a successful businesswoman, a partner in every sense of the word, someone who knew her worth. "What are you thinking about?" Derek asked. "Just how happy I am. How this is exactly where I'm supposed to be." "Me too." We kissed and I felt completely at peace. The past was the past. Preston was a distant memory, a lesson learned, a chapter closed. This was my life now. A life I had built on my own terms. A life full of success, love, respect, and freedom. And it was better than anything I could have imagined that morning when Preston handed me his list of rules. I had won. Not by destroying him, though I had done that too. But by building something better. I had won by becoming myself. And that was the best revenge of all.